My name is Jordan. I'm an alcoholic. I'm very nervous. Very nervous and fearful to share today. But I know that it's not about me. It's about the newcomer, and in practicing my 12 step, just sharing my experience, strength, and hope. I'm going to start with what it was like. I remember my earliest recollection from when I was a young child, just feeling so fearful of everything in life, and not understanding life, and not really wanting to be a part of life, kind of being nervous that I was always going to fail, just had complete inadequacy issues, and everything just seemed so daunting to me. I didn't want to face up to life. I never wanted to go to school. I never wanted to think about the future. It just kind of freaked me out the whole time. I didn't do too well in school. I remember from a very young age being diagnosed with ADHD and being put on medication for that, and just kind of feeling different from everyone else in the classroom. I was always kind of labeled the class clown, and as serious as I thought life was, I never really took anything seriously at all. I struggled in school, with people, with making friends. I remember being bullied when I was young, and just always wanting to be a part of, but never knowing kind of how to do that. Never really got involved much in sports, just never really made that effort. Kind of acted extrovert at school, being funny and reflecting with humor and all of that, but I was really introverted in my own little world most of the time. I used to just escape in my mind, and because that was my safe space, I could imagine anything, and things were different, and it was okay when I was in that space. And it was always weird to me because I've been incredibly blessed in my life. I've had a very supportive family. I've never wanted for anything, and I always went to the best schools and got the best opportunities. But for me, none of that was ever enough, And then going into high school, I remember thinking okay, there's a whole lot of new people now. I can kind of change that. I can change the way I am. I can act different. I can act cool, and I can be part of the cool group, which worked for a while. It really did. I became quite dishonest around that time as well to try and fit in, and I would end up doing things that I wouldn't really do. Things that weren't very nice, but just to kind of get attention and to feel accepted. So I remember I was in a band in high school for most of my high school career, and the kind of relationships that I was in the band with the people that were in the band with me, were very unhealthy. And I never really saw that. I always thought that it was so cool, the kind of stuff we'd get up to, that's kind of when my drinking started, and I remember the first time drinking with them, and it was all about the band practice and everything, but we were always doing something else. We were always doing something dodgy and getting up to dodgy stuff. And I remember just drinking with them and thinking, this is so cool, I don't really have to deal with anything. I like the way this makes me feel. And ever since I kind of started with my drinking career, I never knew when to stop. As soon as I started drinking, I'd always end up more drunk than everyone else. And I was always the person that would just not know where to stop, I had a friend in the band, and it was a very unhealthy friendship. We were very codependent on each other. It was a very unhealthy relationship. It was always around dishonesty, and I kind of fixed off that friendship. And So yeah, I don't know where I'll get into that later. I'm jumping around now. I'm so nervous. Which I remember in grade 9, I had another friend who was quite a good friend of mine, and he had Bart's syndrome, and he passed away in grade 9. And I think that's when I realized that kind of God thing wasn't for me, because I didn't understand how someone who was such a good person, who did so much for others, could go through so much pain and suffering, and could pass away at such a young age. Like, it didn't make sense to me. And it was kind of after that I got into quite a depressive state. Like, that event affected me quite a lot. Like, everyone else in the school kind of cried about it and went to the funeral and people got over it. But for me, it like stuck with me. Like, I didn't understand life and why would that happen, and things like that really affected me a lot. Like, I'd get very emotionally involved in that sort of thing, and I didn't enjoy that about life. I didn't think it was fair, and I thought, okay, well, there can't be a God, because if there was a God, this type of thing wouldn't happen. So from then, I didn't really have God in my life. I just started running completely on self-will, and that was just how it was from then on until I found recovery. I remember high school not knowing what I wanted to do. Like, I was so lost and so confused. I didn't know where I was going with my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my dad said to me, okay, well, you can study music, because I was interested in music. You don't have to take it very seriously. You don't know what you want to do. I don't want you not doing anything, so let's do this. So I went to a music college after school. And my first year, I did really well. Like, I excelled, and I was a part of everything, and I really enjoyed it. But I was also in that first year that I was introduced to my first major drug of choice. It was a substance that the first time I took it, nothing really happened, nothing was really different. And the second and third time I took it, I really enjoyed it, and then I very quickly became dependent on this for socializing and for being on stage. If ever I was performing for the college or outside of the college, I would need this substance. And it's when that unhealthy friendship from school kind of came back to me, because we started doing like a duet at this Hillcrest night market thing. And it was amazing. Every time before we performed, it was like a thing. We had to go and use the substance, and then we could perform. If we didn't use the substance, we couldn't perform. And it slowly became like a mindset of mine that I can't do anything without the substance. Like, I'm not going to be okay without the substance. I'm too nervous about the substance. The substance made me so powerful in my mind, and so like, I could do anything on the substance. It was amazing. And yeah, that lasted quite a while. And we were doing that and everything. And then that relationship kind of broke apart, that friendship, through a whole lot of stuff that I can't really remember now, but that went down, that wasn't okay. And that's kind of when I fell into a really depressive state as well, because I felt like I needed that person to be okay. So I was always dependent on all these things outside of myself, never okay just on my own. And then I stepped away from the music thing for a while. I was still studying at the music college, but I was like a bit, I couldn't do it now, you know. And in my second year, the wheels really started falling off. I was using the substance all the time. I was being very dishonest around my family. I was being very dodgy. I was hanging out with dodgy people, going to dodgy places, and I started really doing badly at the music college. I started failing and like saying I'm going there, and then I would fetch my friends to go to college, and we'd go somewhere else, and we wouldn't even go to college, and then like messaging my mom, yeah, I'm at college, but I wasn't. I was somewhere else. And then just kind of spiraled down from there. I didn't want to be part of the college anymore. I was over it. Things were terrible. No. And I got in that kind of state of mind. So at the end of that year, I had a conversation with my father, and I said to him, I don't want to do this anymore. He said to me, why don't you come work for me? in the family business. So this was cool, it was new, it was exciting, it was kind of a way that I could get out of stuff. Because for me, that's kind of been a pattern of life. I've always gotten out of things. It was like a quicker, easier way, the easier way. I didn't have to face up to life. I didn't have to go and study this big degree. I'll just go and work for my dad and everything is going to be okay. I never thought too much about it. It was just like, okay, I just need to be okay. I just need to get through the next little while. And for that year, that first year that I worked for my dad, things did get better. Like I was using less. I wasn't using so much during the day. I got really involved in the company and I made positive changes. So it's like that pattern again that I had in college, where the first year was so amazing and I put in so much effort, and then slowly that started slipping. Because I found a different substance that was easier for me to use while I was at work. Like a pharmaceutical substance that I got through having my kidney disease, and it's a very difficult substance to get a hold of, but for me it was quite easy to get a hold of. So I would always take that to kind of be okay at work, and then as soon as I went home, I would use my substance again all night, and that was like a pattern I got into. And it was manageable for a very short while. I would fly to Pretoria to visit customers, and I was on the phone, and I was doing my thing, and it was really alright. And then I got into a very unhealthy relationship in that year. And this person, like, I really thought I was in love and all of that stuff, and I fixed off that for a while because he didn't like the fact that I was using, so I would use less, and then slowly that became also a very dishonest thing where I'd use behind his back, and I don't know what happened, but he started like being curious about this, and because he caught me obviously a few times, and said to me, well, let me try it, I thought in my head, like, oh, this is great. If he enjoys it, then I don't have to be so dishonest about it. But yeah, it was incredibly selfish there, because he got really into using it as well. And yeah, luckily he doesn't use it anymore, but he really got into it, and then eventually it was all we used to do together, like the whole relationship from my motive around that was just to use all the time, and obviously have someone next. I didn't want to be alone, and it was an incredibly unhealthy relationship, and it got very toxic very quickly and abusive, and both of us abusing each other, and just I was in the relationship for all the wrong reasons, and I can see that today. But back then, I really thought it was okay. I didn't click. I thought everything was fine. And then going into my second year of working for my father's company, again, the wheels started falling off, and I could see what was going on, and I knew I had a problem. I knew I had a major dependency issue and all of that, but I justified it all. I justified it because of my kidney disease. I justified it because of how much anxiety I had, and I justified it because I said, well, I still get up and I go to work every day, It's not like I'm not going to work. Sure, I'm being really dodgy and dishonest around this whole thing, and no one really knows what's going on with me, but no, it's fine. And then yeah, as a family, we decided it was time for me to move out of the house, and my parents purchased me my flat. I've never done anything on my own as well. Like, that's been a big thing for me. In recovery, it's like learning how to do that stuff on my own. So they purchased this flat for me, and originally I was going to live there alone, but it was a 2-bedroom, and I was very fearful to live on my own because the toxic relationship had just recently ended, and I was on my own, and I had a friend, like a using friend, who I became very close with. Her name, I won't mention her name, but anyway, we were very close, and she kind of came from a very broken home, and I was always there to pick her up and fix her, I always had money for her when she didn't have money, and today I see that she probably wasn't in the friendship for the right reasons, but I thought she really loved me, and I thought we were really close friends. I thought she was my best friend. So I decided to offer her to move in with me because I didn't want to live alone. She couldn't afford to pay the rent or whatever, so I kind of manipulated the situation to my benefit. So my parents were like, okay, she can move in with you, that's fine. And it was really fun for like the first couple of months, We got on really well. I wasn't there alone. We're getting up to dodgy stuff all the time, which is like really what I loved doing, using all the time. Freedom on our own in a flat, like this is amazing kind of stuff. But yeah, that really didn't last long at all, because now that I had that freedom and I didn't have parents in the house with me, and I didn't have, it was like free reign. I just went balls to the wall and I just completely obliterated myself. And then it got to the stage where my health started taking strain. I think I always knew that my health was taking strain because I was abusing all of these substances. But I always manipulated my way around that as well. I was very manipulative and active. So I actually, it's okay that I say this now because they know, but I actually manipulated my parents into thinking that I needed this substance to be okay because of the amount of pain I was in all the time, and I'm only using this one substance and it's natural and it's okay. I don't want to drink because that's bad for my kidneys, and I don't want to take the pain medication. I just want to use this natural substance, which was such bullshit because I was using the substance, and then I was also completely dependent on all the pain medication, and I was also drinking and using other street drugs, and so it was completely dishonest. But that's what I said, so that when people looked at me funny because I was off my face, I had an excuse around that. And it got to the point where I was sitting in hospital, obviously not doing well with my health, and my parents organized for me a way to get this substance in tablet form, because they were just trying to do the best thing for me. I can't believe today that I thought that was okay, that I manipulated that situation that way. My health was really deteriorating. My skin was yellow. I went into hospital. I had a big 11 centimeter cyst that had formed on my left kidney, and through kind of months and months process of having stents in, stents out, surgery to remove the cyst and that kind of thing, it got better because of the surgery. But it was kind of a scare for me because I knew that it got that bad because of the substance abuse. But that wasn't enough to stop me. Like, nothing would stop me. I still went straight back into that cycle. And another major event that happened, and I decided, like, I'm stopping this. I'm stopping today. I'm never using again. Was when I was arrested for possession, and I was handcuffed and taken on like this long joyride, and I was literally pissing myself. I was so scared. And out of the grace of God, I don't know how, but my flatmates helped me, and I got out of that situation. And when we got back to the flat that night, we kind of said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. Tomorrow I'm waking up and it's like a fresh slate. And I didn't even use that night. But I drank, because drinking's okay. You know what I mean? I drank. And I hadn't really drank that much because I was using so much, and I just got completely off my tree drunk. And then I woke up the next morning, knowing very well what had happened and the decision I made the night before, and I used. So like nothing could stop me. I was stuck in this trap. And it really was. It was awful after that, because I knew that I couldn't live with it. I knew what was going on. I knew about the consequences in my life happening, but I couldn't live without it either. Like, there was nothing I could do. No matter how much I didn't want to, I still ended up using. I still ended up in that place. And for me, at that time, I was very fearful of being alone. I was having a lot of struggles with all of the relationships with people in my life. I was struggling with people at work because I wasn't going to work. I wasn't able to be at work all the time. My life was completely unmanageable. It became just this massive mess. My parents were worried about me. My mom wasn't sleeping. She would say things to me like, "George, don't you want to just come and sleep over here?" And I knew it was because she just wanted to know that I was there and so she could sleep. But it didn't affect me. It wasn't enough. Nothing was enough to make me stop. I thought I was so entitled to live the way I was living and all that justification around it, but really I was just in such a space of just not knowing what I was going to do, because I have to do this to live. That's what it was like. My whole life was just revolved around using the whole time and these substances. And then I remember it was college holidays, so I was working, and then my friends from school that were now in like Stellenbosch and Rhodes University, they were home. So I had everyone at my flat with me, and this was quite a big moment for me, because I had everyone there. Like, I wasn't alone. I had people around. I had people lying on the floor, people on the couch. Like, the house was full. We were all getting up to mischief. I was, they were using, everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, everyone kind of fell asleep. Everyone had enough and went to sleep. And I was sitting on that couch, and there were all these people around me sleeping, and I just felt completely alone because I was up using, on my own. And that was a huge kind of alarm bell that went off like this, like, you're not okay. You think you're the same as all these people, but you're completely different, and I was. They knew when enough was enough, they knew when to stop, and I just couldn't stop. That unhealthy friendship I was talking about in high school that ended, picked up again throughout this whole time, and I became very dependent on the friendship again because this person made me feel okay, She always knew what to say, just to make me feel okay. And she also went through her struggles with substances. By the grace of God, I believe she's okay today. My amends is to kind of stay away now, but I believe she's okay today. And the second major moment that I had was sitting in my car with her, and I just broke down and started crying, and like the heavy, deep, like when a mother loses a child kind of cry. I don't know what to do. Like, everything's a complete mess. It was the help of her and a really new relationship that I got into. They said to me, like, you need to get help. And my mom had also said to me, like, George, just let me know, like, if you want to go to rehab or all of that. And I remember being like, no, man, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it was then that I decided, okay, I need help. I'm gonna either kill myself, die, or like, I don't know, like something else is gonna happen and I can't cope with it. And that's when I went on the internet and I found this treatment center. And then I went to my mom and I said, Mom, I want to go to this treatment center. Like, I'm not okay. You get honest about stuff. But even then I wasn't honest. I said, I have a little bit of a problem, and I think I just need to go to rehab for like 28 days just to, get my head right, go to the spa, get a nice haircut, lounge around the pool like I just need, So yeah, and then my dad came down quite hard on me, and he was like, okay, well, if you're going to do this, I need someone to be in your position at work, and then like there was all this kind of hecticness that came with it that I never really thought about. And then they said to me, if you're going to go, we've spoken to this guy, Stelio, if you're going to go for 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? No way, I'm not going for 3 months. You know, needless to say, I spent almost 6 months there. So yeah, I ended up just throwing in the towel and I went. And since then it's been the most amazing experience of my life. It's been the most amazing year. It's been the most toughest year because I've never been through anything like that. I've never looked at myself. I've always blamed everyone else. And you know, when I kind of got off all the substances and I started feeling better and I was eating right and I started picking up weight. So I was like a wreck when I went into treatment. I thought I looked good, apparently not. Yeah. Keep hitting all these blanks like in my head. Anyway. Yeah, so I went to treatment and I started working the steps. And I remember being there and everyone was so nice to me, which I hadn't experienced in a while because everyone was hurtful with me in my life before I went to treatment. And regardless of my behavior and what I went through, like everyone was nice and people were happy and people were laughing. And it was amazing. It was completely different to anything I thought it would be. Like it was hard work, getting up that long walk, like concern group. Like it was hectic, but it's exactly what I needed, and I was placed in there with those people at the right time for the right reasons, and that's kind of when I started discovering that there was a higher power working in my life. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I did my 3 months and I worked my steps and I really looked at myself. I was feeling better. Everything started making sense to me as to why I was the way I was, why I struggled with life so much, why I couldn't cope with life on life's terms. Like that all started making sense to me, and I got really into it, you know. And then after 3 months, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I was concerned really badly in concern group for basically not working my program anymore and for fixing off other people and fixing off other things, and on my weekend home doing some dodgy stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, and basically it was suggested to me that I have an extra month. And then after that, the exact same kind of thing happened. It was suggested that I do another month. So that was just my journey, but I'm so grateful for those extra months because that's really when I learned the most about myself, and really when I put in the action to make it about others and make it about the newcomer. So for me, today I'm really glad that I stayed for those extra months because it also got me to a point where I was now willing to follow suggestion and do anything. I think before that I was quite keen on going back home and doing all of that. And I met with my sponsor one day and I was like, okay, so what's your plan for me? And he's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like everything I've done has just been a massive stuff up. I don't know. And then he suggested that I go to the halfway house and I stay in Scottsboro and we'll take it month to month, that kind of thing. I don't know why, because you had said to me when I first went into treatment, you're going to stay in Scottsboro and you're going to go and live in a halfway house with 7 other guys and get a humbling job. I would have laughed at you and said it's mad. But I was just okay with it. I just got to that point where I was just okay with it. So I moved down to the halfway house. I got a humbling job. First time I've ever got a job on my own. Or done anything for myself on my own, actually. Became a waiter. I was a runner for 2 months, like a ball boy, like clearing tables and that kind of thing, which was very humbling for me. But I don't know. I don't really see it that way. It's like I know that it's the experience that I need to have in order to be humbled, and you know this is what people do. They go out and they get a job, and so life moves on, which was an amazing shift for me and a change in my perspective of life and my entitlement and what I think I'm entitled to, because I'm just naturally, I don't think I need to work for anything. I think everything is just going to be laid out for me. That's just the way, that's just how my brain works. I don't know why I feel like I'm so special and different from everyone else. Other people have to do that, I don't have to do that. And now here I am doing that, you know what I mean? It's amazing. And the amount of growth that I've had just from that job, and and just from living in Scottsboro and following suggestion has been absolutely incredible. And it hasn't been easy, it really hasn't. I've had, I think, 5 inventories in my first year of recovery. And it's been like kind of yo-yo effect where I'm doing what I need to be doing, I'm helping others, I'm working my program, and life's amazing, serenity, yay. And then I start slipping down and start getting dishonest about stuff, start talking to people I shouldn't be talking to, doing things that I shouldn't be doing, and then I sit in pain for a bit, and then I'm in a massive mess, and then like after sitting in that pain for long enough, I eventually phoned my sponsor and told me how mad I am, and then I did an inventory, and like that's kind of been my journey, and luckily it's started to level out a bit in the last couple of months. But in all honesty, I'm struggling a bit with stuff at the moment in my recovery, just to be honest. It's nothing that I can't get through, and it's nothing that, because I know I've been through stuff like this before, and with my program I know I can get through this stuff. But it's a lot of fear-based stuff, and it's really confirmed that connection with my higher power for me in recent weeks. Just having that faith, and knowing that faith without works is dead, and then putting in the work, putting in the action to find a place to stay. So I'm moving out of the halfway house and finding out what I'm going to study, and having faith that if I put in the action, I can finish what I start. I can study something. No matter what it is, those inadequacy issues and that fear comes for me so strong. And just stuff that happens with people in recovery, because for me, my mouth gets away with me sometimes, and I get myself into a lot of trouble with my mouth, things like here, and then gossip, and things like that. But I know today that I'm clean and sober 1 year, and I've done what I've needed to do to get out of that stuff, and I know it's all a learning process, and I'm going to go through stuff in recovery. Everyone does. And it was when I realized that, I think I was on the phone with my sponsor just the other night, the night before last, in a complete mess about something. But it was actually just a whole lot of things that I wasn't dealing with properly, and they were such small things, but to me, in my mind, I make small things massive catastrophes. And then I'm in a massive mess, and everything's terrible, and I'm going to die, but it's actually just such small stuff. So yeah, I have a lot of gratitude where I am today in my life. Life no longer overwhelms me. I don't feel like I want to escape from life and die anymore. And I know that I don't need anything outside of myself to be better, I know that just being me is enough. And I never thought I would feel that way, because just being me has never been enough. It really hasn't. I've always needed, things outside of myself to make me feel better. I need to get more money, I need to have a better car, I need to have a better house, I need to succeed in my life to be okay. And it's really not like that, because this year has been a very simple year for me. I haven't had a lot of money. I haven't had all of that glamorizing stuff. I've shared a bathroom with 7 people for a year. And I've been okay, I've been okay. I've been okay. Things haven't been too bad. So I don't know what else to say. I think we're moving. Thanks for letting me say.